It's a gorgeous Saturday night in South Florida, and for the home team, they have ambitions of putting together their first winning streak in 2 years. USL Championship action brought to you by Doral Kia gives us Miami FC against North Carolina FC. Hello, everyone. With Chris Nurse, I'm David Gascon. Chris, Miami FC returns home fresh off their first victory of the season, snapping a 12-game losing skid.
Yeah, it wasn't just their first victory. It was away against San Antonio, Western's conference leaders, away from home, their first victory of the year. It's going to be interesting to see if that momentum, that confidence they're able to gain from that game, if they can continue at home tonight against North Carolina SC.
See if they can do that. Miami FC has upset San Antonio in 3 consecutive years. Goalkeeper Bill Hamid, he's back between the pipes tonight for Miami. He had a season-high 5 saves in the upset victory. What has made him the best player for Miami FC in 2025?
Bill Hamid, the experience that he brings to this group, I think, goes far beyond what he does on the pitch. He's a leader. He's a player who can navigate this landscape, given the number of changes that Miami FC have and having a new head coach. I think his involvement in the team goes far beyond the field, but obviously, as they work things out, his influence between the sticks is going to be vastly very important.
North Carolina comes into this affair having been blanked by New Mexico a week ago. First time it's happened this season. How can they improve on their offensive output?
Yeah, for North Carolina FC, I think they need to find consistency in their performances. They've scored 7, they've conceded 7. So at some point, the defense have to get a little bit tighter and not allow so many goals, probably focus a little bit more on keeping clean sheets. However, against the Miami FC that's lingering at the bottom of the table, if North Carolina have serious hopes of being a strong playoff contenders, they're going to have to pick up 3 points tonight.
Forward Evan Conway was the second leading scorer for North Carolina a year ago. In this new campaign, he leads the team with 3.
Yeah, what Bill Hamid is for Miami FC, Evan Conway is for North Carolina FC. He's the player up front that they rely to put the ball in the back of the net. It's going to be interesting to see if he can be provided with great service tonight in order to get them go-ahead goals.
North Carolina swept the season series against Miami a season ago, outscoring the opposition 8-1. Coming up on their side, we'll get you the starting 11 and first touch. It's Miami FC and North Carolina FC coming up next.
Some people think Miami is just flamingos and palm trees.
And hell yes, we have badass sunsets.
But Miami's Little Havana,
Doral,
Little Haiti,
Hialeah,
Wynwood, Coconut Grove,
Kendall,
Calle Ocho,
Sweetwater,
Homestead,
cortaditos y coladas,
empanadas y croquetas.
is so much more. This is the 305.
This is who we really are. This is what we are all about.
I am Latino.
I'm a disruptor.
I am LGBTQ.
I am a villain.
I am a mother.
I am Haitian.
I am an activist. I am an activist.
I am a king.
I am American Dream.
I am the future.
I am
NCFC.
No one was born a hero. It's an everyday journey. There are no shortcuts, no days off, no perfect scenarios. Things won't always go the way you expect. But overcoming challenges is part of the game too. Your time is now. When passion runs through you, become your own hero.
This portion of the broadcast is brought to you by Doral Kia. Drive for less, drive Doral. Bon Bon Boom. Suck at something. Macron. Become your own hero. And Baptist Health. live from South Dade Kia Field at Pitbull Stadium. David Gascon with Chris Nurse. The starting 11 for Miami FC, led by head coach Gaston Madoni, is a 4-2-3-1 formation with the club's leading scorer Francisco Bonfilio, 4 goals in the season at the top.
Yeah, it could. I anticipate this may end up looking more like a 3-5-2 for Miami FC, going from man for man all across the pitch, which is going to be a good test of individual ability.
Starting 11 for North Carolina and head coach Sean Bradford, a 3-4-3 formation with one change. Forward Rodrigo da Costa replaces Pedro Dolabella.
Yeah, Paco Craig at the back. Being the center point of that back three is so important, and as we spoke about, for North Carolina FC, is can they start to keep more clean sheets? Scored 7, conceded 7. If they can start to become a little bit tighter defensively, I think that's where they're going to start picking up more momentum as the season kicks on. Alex
Anderson at the top. He scored 13 goals last year for the club. He has not scored one here in 2025 for North Carolina FC. Miami FC will be moving from left to right on the attack. North Carolina FC, the visitors, will be moving from right to left, and this contest is officially underway. Miami FC trying to do something they have not done in nearly 6 months. That's win a home contest. Last time they captured a victory on home soil, August the 31st against Monterey Bay. It was a 1-0 victory. They defeated San Antonio a week ago, 1-0. That victory on the road snapped a 19-match winless streak for Miami FC, dating all the way back to October the 7th of 2023. Miami FC trying to go back-to-back now with consecutive victories. Last time that happened was also in 2023 when they had a strong surge towards the tail end of the season that saw them fall a point shy of reaching the postseason. They had ripped off 4 consecutive victories before losing the final one at Sacramento. Long throw in here for North Carolina. Disrupted, back comes Miami FC on the attack. Chris, as Miami FC starts to get themselves acquainted with each other, a whole new roster of personnel, 5-6 matches now into the year. We had some changes for them at the beginning of the season. Jonathan Ricketts, Bulu Akinyoti, who did return, Bill Hamid, who's the big pickup in between the pipes. But a lot of guys for Gaston Madoni that have now found their way into the starting 11, and that includes notable figures like Diego Mercado and Dan Varane.
Yeah, I think it takes sometimes a little bit of time to adapt to the USL Championship, to understand the level, the competition that you're up against, and then find ways to navigate and win games. And so far, as we spoke about, they found a way to win one game last week against San Antonio, but they're going to have to find consistency. They're going to have to find the tempo of play, the rhythm, and of course, as the summer kicks in and things start to get a little hotter, the play and everything style changes again. So it's going to be interesting to see how they navigate that.
Keys to the game presented by Doral Kia. Drive for less, drive Doral.
For Miami FC, 3 out of the 4 games that they have played this season, when they've scored, well, 1 of the 4 games that they played this season, when they've scored the first goal, they've won. So it's the key to them being successful is to get themselves on the score sheet first tonight. The Open Cup games that they won, they scored the first goal last week against San Antonio. They scored the first goal, so it's going to be key for them to ensure they continue to score the first goal to get their wins. For North Carolina, as we spoke about pre-game, can they find more consistency in their performances?
Maldonado's free kick nearly crossed the end line. Possession held, though. Good position by Knudsen. Trying to switch the pitch is Miami FC.
Referencing Miami FC's games that they've won, that's including the Open Cup games that they won. Obviously, they had the victory against Naples FC. They had the victory against Inter Miami. We're talking about the victory against San Antonio. In all of those games that they won, Open Cup, the one in the USL Championship, they scored the first goal. So that's one of the points that we've identified as being one of the key points when Miami FC have had successful games.
Miami comes into this contest 1-4 in the season, 3 points. North Carolina FC 2-2-2. Good for 8 points. They're an even 500 club on the road so far. 1-1-1 for John Bradford. 5th year as head coach for North Carolina FC. He did say earlier this week that he feels like the fate his team has been given through the first 6 contests has been deserved.
Yeah, as we spoke about, it takes a little bit of time, and as we've seen in this roster, there's some young players who are getting their first taste of professional experience. Brandon Bent on the left-hand side being one of those. There's some guys in their first year playing in the USL Championship. And then there's obviously your Bill Hamids and your Akinyodis who have experience. There's a blend of youth, there's a blend of new players, and there's a blend of experience. And all that takes a little bit of time to gel. 4 games into the season, judging is a little bit harsh. I think when we're getting towards 20 games in the season, then we can really look at how things are gelled and things have become cohesive over the course of the season.
Miami FC holding possession right now. Knutson on the back line. Ricketts making the return. Nicholas Cardona, his first start last week against San Antonio. He's not amongst the 11 this evening. This portion of the broadcast brought to you by Doral Kia. Drive for less, drive Doral. Into the 6th minute. No real threatening moments yet for either side. It's the 11th all-time matchup between the two clubs. North Carolina has 4 victories. Miami has a mere 2. And they played to 4 draws. Paco Craig and Jake McGuire formerly wore the kits of Miami FC a couple of years ago. Paco Craig, the bona fide leader of North Carolina FC, as John Bradford raved about his leadership. North Carolina, one of 8 teams last year in the Eastern Conference to qualify for the postseason. They were bounced out in the quarterfinals. It's a strong campaign for North Carolina. They advanced the round of 32 in the U.S. Open Cup. Alex Anderson and Evan Conway combined for 25 goals. Conway leading the club this year with 3. Anderson has yet to get out of the starting blocks.
You can see from Miami FC, sometimes it can look like a 3-5-2 with Brandon Bent pushing very high and wide on the right-hand side, and it's actually Romero who sometimes operates centrally, is providing the width on the right-hand side. So they're pushing the fullbacks extremely high and wide when they're in possession, but when they're out of possession, they actually drop back alongside the back 3, making a back 5.
Heavy push here coming out is Bill Hamid. Good read by the keeper, and he'll put this thing near midfield. Would have been an odd man break for North Carolina quickly out of the gates. No shots for either side yet. Servania making his 5th start in 6 matches. 6 years of USL Championship experience.
As well as the Puerto Rican national team.
On the giveaway, up front, too firm on the feet. A bad pass, and McGuire will make a touch on it. McGuire in between the pipes for North Carolina has appeared in all 6 matches so far leading into tonight's contest. Goals against average is at $1.17. Save percentage is at .739. Quick touch passing, another harsh foul. A look on, at least by Sebastian Blanco, says he didn't have any real intent behind it. Rafa Minskin, who is amongst the starters tonight, coming to the aid of Finn Sudstrom. Sudstrom, developed by the Youth Academy of North Carolina FC, signed his first professional contract with the organization just this year. Cavalanes trying to push forward. Ball went off a North Carolina defender.
Given both of these teams' formations, there's some exciting matchups as we've seen already. The likes of Savania on this left-hand side up against Romero, and on the left-hand side you're going to have Bent up against Metzingen. It's going to be interesting to see when they're able to switch the point of attack and get those players 1v1, how they go about advancing the ball. Obviously, Brandon Bent, a very, very fast player, able to attack from the flanks. Good deliveries into the box.
North Carolina forcing a turnover. The early pressure by Anderson. Back to Tristan Hodge. Hodge making his second start of the season now in 3 matches. Up front and out wide. Somersault tries to thread a needle, no such luck. Miami with possession. Miami so far this year, scoring 4 goals but conceding 9. North Carolina, no goal differential for them yet. 7 up and 7 against. Pedro Dolabella, who's not amongst the starters tonight, does have a goal in the campaign. Conway with 3.
And I think that's one of the consistent traits that we've seen with some of the top teams, like Louisville City, for example. They have a very, very stellar defense. They almost take it personal when they concede goals. They pride themselves on keeping clean sheets as much as they do as picking up 3 points and winning games. So I think, as I said, that's where the next step North Carolina need to do is focus a little bit more on keeping those clean sheets. And I think the goals will continue to come with the likes of Evans and their ability to pick up 3 points and win games.
They lost in heartbreak fashion a week ago to New Mexico. 1-0. Thomas Among, the game-winning goal in the 92nd minute. 1-0 was the final.
And of course, similar to last week's game for Miami against San Antonio, New Mexico were the Western Conference champions last year, one of the strongest teams in the conference. So going there and losing in the last moments, as hard as it feels, is not as bad as it may look on paper.
Gavilanes looking for it, has some space, didn't get the best foot on it, but he was labeled offside anyway.
Yeah, I think he'd be glad that the referee called this one back for offside. He had far more time than he thought. He could have taken this on his right foot, opened up his hips and looked for the side netting. The strike was a little bit irrational, but it would have been called back for offside anyhow.
Somersault hunched over. He appears to be okay into the 12th minute. Touch foul here. Anahan Yaya is our lead official tonight. Mikey Maldonado. Showcase there. Maldonado, 5th year of USL. Played in all 6 matches up to this point. Leads the team in chances. 8 of them created so far. And another turnover. Gavilanes outside. Romero here. Matias making a 6th start now in 6 matches for Miami.
Figlio has been Miami FC's go-to guy for goals so far this season. 2 goals in the regular season and 3 goals in the Open Cup. So five goals to start the season isn't so bad. Threatens very well with his movement, makes good runs in behind, able to finish in front of goal. The key is providing him with good service.
All-time record, North Carolina with the 4 victories. Miami with the mere 2. They win here tonight. It'll be their first time winning on home soil since August 31st of 2024.
I think the comparisons, that this squad is completely different, although you could arguably say the results haven't changed much since last season. But this squad is a complete rebuild from last season. Last season, it was an extremely young player. Nocerino told us there was maybe 2 players in his squad last year that had professional experience, period. This is a team now that does have a lot of experience. It does have players who have played at this level, played for their national teams, hundreds of appearances. It does have professional players, and it's brand new coach. So I think as much as we do like to compare between seasons, this is a brand new Miami FC this year.
Open crease for a brief moment. Gavilanes searching for it, has it now. One of the elements to Miami's game last year is they played a lot through the back, Chris, but this year they don't tend to do that as much.
Yeah, and there was There was some games last season they played well. They were in the game, and it was just defensive errors or playing in dangerous areas and losing the possession right in front of goal and conceding really juvenile chances, you might say. They play a little bit different this year. They probably take a little less risk at the back. But as we've spoken about, they've conceded far more goals than they've been able to score. So at some point, they've got to figure out where the focus is, where the balance is, whether it's going to be creating more goal-scoring chances and converting, or really becoming more defensively concrete and solid and hard to break down and hard to beat. The margins of defeat this season, I would say, have definitely reduced in compared to the margin of defeat last season. Last season, the defeats were large margins. They've narrowed it down. So defensively, they're getting more compact. And I think there'll be continued improvement as the season goes on.
Miami FC conceded a league-high 89 goals a year ago. Goal differential was up there at -63. Trying to push onto the attack here. Transition, though, for North Carolina as they get everybody back.
I cannot add any value to that statistic. -63, I think, says it all.
Opposite way. Out in front for McGuire, though, and that shot will not count anyway. Near side official again with the flag up, indicating offside. Take a quick look at this replay brought to you by Bon Bon Boom. What did you see from Bonfiglio?
And we just spoke about his knack and his tenacity inside the box. Control, finish. That's a striker's instinct. Although it's offside, he didn't know it was offside till after he puts it in the back of the net. But the control and finish is exactly what you need from your striker in and around the 18-yard box. We saw the chance earlier that was offside and it got whiffed. Not a great effort, but on this occasion we saw that instinct to just control and slide it into the corners. That's what Bonfiglio brings to this team.
Gavilanes on another run. Good breakup by Sundstrom. It's twice now, and Sundstrom has intercepted a good creative feed intended for Gavilanes. Bonfiglio leading Miami FC in regular season goals with 2. But goals against, or goals for with all competitions, he has 4 of them. Bent here with some heavy contact near the end line. North Carolina FC, a busy offseason. Opened up some preseason activity against MLS side Charlotte FC. Won that match 1-0. Dolabella, the lone marker in that contest. But the big thing for them coming into this year, as they try to build on what was in 2024, is the continuity. They have 13 players that return from a season ago, led by Conway and Anderson, all-league defender Ezra Armstrong. So those are the building blocks. Now what do they need to do to get over the top?
Yeah, and I think John Bradford is also part of that building block. He's a ever-present figure in the North Carolina soccer community for decades. When I was playing for North Carolina, that's like 10 years ago, John Bradford was involved. So he knows the landscape, he knows the league, he knows the players, he knows the requirements and how to build the organization. So as much as there's player turnover, I think having that consistency in the organization and in the structure and the staff is also important to be successful. As we spoke about with Miami FC, last year Nocerino was a new coach, this year it's a new coach. So they had a lot of turnover in staff, which makes it very challenging to be consistent on the field.
Ball carried around. Possession controlled by North Carolina for a brief moment. Gavilanes up front asking for it. Here comes Miami FC anyway. They don't have numbers yet. Gavilanes trying to split 2 defenders, could not do so.
I think you are seeing a resurgence of energy from Miami FC, building upon the result that they got last week. In the opening 17 minutes, they've had 2 goals scored.
Back to McGuire, and it finds the back of the net. That's something that inflicted on Miami FC a season ago. It comes right back in their favor. Bonfiglio on the board for Miami, and they lead 1-0.
Goal scorers, they don't care how it goes into the back of the net. As long as it doesn't, Bonfiglio he sees that pass is a little bit slow. He chases it down. The goalkeeper, uncertain his decision making. He doesn't smash it. He doesn't pass it. He ends up just hitting off Bonfiglio, and it finds its way into the back of the net. I was just highlighting that was maybe the 3rd chance that Miami FC had in the opening 20 minutes of this game, building on the confidence and momentum that they got from last week's win against San Antonio. You're starting to see a resurgence in performance, in energy. Miami FC leading the game 1-0.
exactly what they need playing at home against a North Carolina team that beat them from pillar to post a year ago. For Bonfilio, at goals unassisted. And in the 19th minute, his third goal of the regular season gassed Amadoni's troops up 1-0.
And sometimes just by chasing the hopeless ball, working hard, you create your own luck. You could say that he got lucky in that situation, but if he doesn't press the goalkeeper and chase him with intensity, he's not there to get lucky. So you have to give the striker credit for putting in the work to be in that place at that time and to put the goalkeeper in an uncomfortable situation where the chance was created.
You could have watched a highlight tape of Miami FC from 2024 and you would have seen the exact same goal against them happen. And Meade comes all the way out to challenge and forces that shot wide by Anderson.
Great opportunity here from North Carolina to get the equalizing goal within 5 minutes of conceding. Anderson does well to get behind a tremendous pace. Just lacked the composure on the finish. Bill Hamid was way off his goal line. The ball sits up a little bit on the turf. Just needed to lift it rather than kind of slashes across it with his instep.
So Miami gets away with one there. Bonfilio's goal, unassisted. Third of the season.
The first 5 minutes after you score a goal are so important. That's where the whole team has to lock in defensively. You can't allow gaps to open like that just after you've taken the lead. That's where you stay compact, you stay tight, you try to get a foothold on the game. The last thing you want to do is concede straight away after you've scored, and that's a big let off there for Miami FC.
Summersaul's had a tough go at it to open up this match. He's been on the ground 3 separate times, and each time getting up not looking pleasant.
Paco Craig, of course, is very familiar with this surface, having spent time here at Miami FC also.
When you say familiar, how different is this surface compared to grass?
It varies. I mean, there's a number of teams throughout the league that play on turf surfaces. I think it's part of the benefit of being able to play in any circumstance. But the ball bobble's different. It does take players longer to recover after games.
Miami looking for a whole lot more. Ball floating up into the air. Cervania had it for a brief moment. That shot being denied. Bonfilio's goal, the difference maker so far, up to make it 2-0. Good heads-up play, though, on the back line to disrupt that. Akinyoti. Is a notable figure in the middle of the park for Miami FC. Lengthy, good wheels. And he has started and appeared in every single match this year for Miami FC.
Operating in a slightly different capacity tonight, though. He's playing as a left of the back three. Normally he's the player we see in the center of the park going box to box, or sitting as the six doing the dirty defensive work, but being used a little differently tonight.
Knudsen scored his first goal of the season last week in the victory at San Antonio.
And of course, I think this is
played into the box, bicycle kick. That thing was dangerous.
I think the ricochet might have been more dangerous than the initial connection. Ball's hung up at the back post. Bill Hamid didn't look too concerned about the overhead kick, but it's once it deflected that he got a little bit worried. Fortunately, it was deflected out of play.
Anderson did not hit it flush, but any ricochet can be dangerous for a keeper.
As we spoke about with Akinyoti operating in a different capacity today, I think this is all part of the process of Gaston Madoni trying to figure out which formation works best for his team, which positions work best for the players, and then finding which equation is going to amount to the best success. And I think it's something that comes maybe the first third of the season. You can use in that capacity because so many teams will make the playoffs. So maybe it's a a tough expectancy in your first season, say you're going to be #1 in the USL Championship. Maybe that's not the goal this season. Maybe next season that becomes the goal. This season, of course, I think there's no smaller goal than they need to be in the playoffs. And they're giving maybe the first third of the season an opportunity to figure things out, find out who plays where, the best chemistry between individuals. And then the grading may get a little bit harder from that point, I think.
While it may take a third of the season to figure out, is it easier to identify offensive players, guys up front, forwards, or is it defenders?
Well, the strikers need good service. As you've seen, Bonfiglio can put the ball in the back of the net when he's providing good service, but if he scores 2 and the team always concedes 5, they're not going to win too many games. So I think it's finding that cohesive, collective pressuring organisation together as a unit.
First yellow card of the contest here in the 25th minute. That'll go to Hodge.
Your attention, please. A yellow card has been issued to North Carolina FC's number 55.
Oh, I'm not sure that warrants a yellow card. Maybe it is a free kick, but I'm not sure he did too much there.
So Hodge in the 25th, first booking of the night. North Carolina only has 16 on the year. If you're Gavilanes, where are you going with this ball?
I think he's got to deliver it to the back post for Akinyodi. He'll do extremely well to beat Maguire from this angle. Although Maguire is showing him a decent amount on that left-hand side.
Akinyodi at 6'2".
2 players unmarked at the back post.
Miami FC with 6 players inside the 18. Gavilanes. No service here. Let's see what he dials up. Bends it in the header. Oh, there's forward tied. Oh, Knutson for the second time in as many games makes it 2-0 Miami FC.
Deadly set piece delivery here from Gavilanes. He had us guessing whether he's going to go for a goal or if he's going to deliver it to the back post, but I don't think you could ask for a better executed set piece. Hangs it up towards the back post area with a little bit of whip, a little bit of bend, and Knutson's run is perfect on time, and the pace on the delivery just guides it into the far post. He doesn't even to get great connection on it. And Maguire can just watch it slide past him into the back of the net. Great start to this game from Miami FC.
Knutson's second goal of the year, and it comes in as many games. Last week against San Antonio, and now one for good measure tonight on home soil.
And of course that doubles down on Hodges' yellow card. Now he feels a little bit worse because he got the yellow card, and the free kick that he conceded also led to a goal being conceded.
I don't know if Knutson's superstitious at all, but scoring last week in the 25th minute and tonight in the 26th, something's up.
I believe he may only have 3 goals in a lot of appearances, right? Like 100 appearances, 2 of those 3 goals coming in the past 2 games.
It's not bad. Not bad. He's hot. He's red hot.
Go on, pull the stat.
Miami FC stayed to a 2-goal advantage. And for Dalton Knutson, his second goal of the year. Knutson with his second goal tonight. It's the most he's ever scored in any single season. He broke a scoreless drought that carried over in 3 different years. Prior to his offensive surge this year, he had scored all of 1 goal back in 2021. Nice disruption by Knutson momentarily. Anderson with possession. No, he did not get it. So Bonfiglio and then Knutson in the 18th and 26th minute respectively. Couple haymakers thrown by Miami, and they're up 2-0.
North Carolina just haven't been able to find any fluidity to their play so far. They've not been able to combine passes. There's been a couple of opportunities when the ball's gone over the top and Anderson's chased it through, and yes, he maybe should have done better with a couple of chances, but they haven't played with a normal possession-based fluid style of play.
Back on the attack, though. Anderson's wide open on the left-hand side. Some heavy contact inside the 18. And our lead official throws out the yellow card in a peculiar spot for Bill Hamid to face.
So many bodies around the ball. You wonder why this needed to end up in a penalty. Interesting to see the replay, but both last 5 minutes is a free kick that led to a second goal for Miami FC, and ends up being a poorly timed tackle here. He does not need to nip at him. He's about to run straight into the brick wall of Knutson, driving forward with the ball. There's no need to nip at him from behind it. He's going to go into that Coyote and Knutson, and I don't think anybody wants to do that.
So DaCosta goes down. The yellow card for Mercado.
Anytime you challenge from behind inside the box, you do make it. Oh, it's just outside the box. I thought it was a certain penalty.
This is a frightening moment, though, for Miami, getting out of the gates quickly. They don't want to concede anything moments after they scored their second goal to give them some breathing room. The situation, though, if you are DaCosta and company, where are you going with this free kick?
See, Bill Hamid's not easy. You see, he set his wall up well, so Bill's protecting the left-hand side of his goal and asking the wall to do the other work. But you're definitely going for goal for here. There's no chance he's hanging this up for anybody else.
Maldonado to the left. We'll see who takes this free kick just outside the drive. Oh, it scales over the crossbar.
And it wasn't far away at all. You saw by Hamid's reaction, he was worried about that strike. Hit with a lot of venom.
DaCosta missing that crossbar by a whisker.
Just doesn't dip quick enough to get under the crossbar, but it wasn't far away at all. Good effort from DaCosta. I thought it was a penalty kick there. That was inches away from being a penalty kick if it wasn't.
DaCosta has yet to score this year for North Carolina. He scored 7 times in 2024. Different times, even with the same kind of implementation. Let's take a look at the contact and where the infraction occurred, Chris. Because as you mentioned, it felt like it was inside the 18.
It's right. Oh, I said, I don't think I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong.
I don't think so either.
From my view, I was certain it was a penalty. I don't think the replays made me wrong.
Well, the argument will not be heard from up here.
I think that's a big let off there for Miami FC, because had it been a penalty and the scoreline gets to 2-1, it completely changes the outlook of this game. It gives North Carolina a little bit more hope and belief.
It's a world of difference if DaCosta or Anderson or Conway is on the receiving end of that penalty. Summersall again on the deck, and even though he's been playing into his 33rd minute, he has had a bruising night so far for North Carolina. Named the USL League One final MVP a couple years ago. Helped St. Kitts and Nevis qualify for the CONCACAF Gold Cup. First time in history making them the smallest country in the Western Hemisphere to reach a major soccer tournament. Busy last year in 23 matches, and here in 2025, he's seen activity in 5 of the 6. Now make it 6 of 7. Cervania had nowhere to go with that ball. But everyone falling asleep. Conway trying to take advantage of it. No luck. So Miami has received 2 breaks in the night. The first one was the gift that Bonfilio cashed in on the goal. And the second was the infraction against DaCosta that was clearly missed by our lead official, which happened inside the 18.
Maybe their luck is starting to turn.
Miami FC will take whatever they can get. Club last year that finished 3-29-2. Long way to go for tonight's outcome, but if they can capture 3 more points, it'll be their first winning streak since September the 20th.
I think it will be also important just to instill some belief and hope into the players. It's been an extended rough period of time for the organization, not just the players, probably everybody involved in the organization. Just start to turn the fortunes around a little bit so they can start to believe and become optimistic once again.
Bent trying to receive delivery, could not get to it. Akinyoni pivots away.
Miami FC leading the possession in this game, 53%. And I think it's important to note, in last week's victory against San Antonio away from home, they had in the 30s when it came to percentage. So dominating the percentage of possession hasn't always resulted to the positive result for Miami FC. They've actually got their biggest win so far when they didn't have the most of the ball. So sometimes the possession statistic can be misleading. Although they didn't create the most chances when you compare the two teams last week. So obviously having possession of the ball allows you to create more goal-scoring chances, which may lead to a greater chance of success. But you have to have the ability to convert those chances also.
New Mexico, who beat North Carolina last week 1-0, outchanced, outpossessed North Carolina. They outpossessed them to the tune of 77% to 23. Wide margin. Outshot them 12-9. So in instances like that, North Carolina, the better team on the evening, got the result they deserved. Somersault again on the canvas.
And I think like in places like New Mexico and San Antonio, where the fan base is so strong, it does help you to have the upper hand in possession, or the demand to have the upper hand, because with a fan base like that behind you, there's no way they come to watch the other team dominate the possession of the game. You really have to take the game by the scruff of the neck. And you saw what the crowd was like there in New Mexico. You saw the crowd there in San Antonio. They're two places where the fans are very demanding in the home team having the dominance in the game.
Anderson, good pivot for a moment. The head fake and the ball fake did not translate into a crossing attempt. A giveaway. One deserves another, so Miami will hold possession. Bonfilio in the 18th minute. Knutson doubles it up. His goal, second of the year, and second in 2 contests in the 26th minute. And gives us the count of 2-0. John Bradford looking at his club and just trying to galvanize the troops the best that he can.
I think there's one thing you always have to take in consideration when you come to Miami also is the heat, the temperature, the humidity. Right now it's a little bit different than what John Bradford and his team would have been training in consistently in North Carolina. And they also need to adapt to that circumstance also. Going away from home, picking up points. These are all things that come into consideration. You have to be prepare the team in order to do that effectively.
Odds makers gave North Carolina a pretty heavy chance to pull off the victory. Hamid with a good stop here. In fact, North Carolina came into this match as the favorite. Miami FC was nearly a 2-1 underdog.
There are some things that are in Miami FC's favor, though. You're looking at the surface. The turf is completely different to the facilities and the fields that North Carolina train on and play on a consistent basis. And as I mentioned, the temperature and the humidity also has a huge impact. Both of these teams competed USL Open Cup during the midweek, so they're both recovering in a similar way. But there's a number of factors here that work in favor for Miami FC. And as we spoke about, the win against San Antonio would have re-galvanized them, given a little bit more hope. It would not be the same Miami FC as maybe 2 weeks ago that you're coming up against tonight.
On to McGuire. And similar to how players and teams will grow into a match, you get the sense that Miami is growing into the season, don't you?
Growing into the season, You know, it became inevitable. Once you saw the scoreline start to become a little bit more narrower, they will switch the ties, and then they'll gradually turn into a way into finding wins. And I think that's what you're seeing is the players are getting a better understanding of how to play together. There's more cohesion, there's more chemistry. We can see they're very hard working, they're industrious, a very gritty team. But they also have a few players, as we've spoken about, in the likes of Bonfiglio, who have quality in the attacking third also.
Make sure you stay with us at the break. Chris and myself will have first half highlights, some stats, news and notes around USL Championship, maybe a goal of the week and a save of the week, maybe. All that and then some at the end of this opening half.
For North Carolina FC, I expect after the break we'll see some changes and adaptations to the game, because right now, as you can see, Miami FC have the dominance in scoreline and also the dominance in possession. You have players like Sylvania can provide an attacking threat. I don't think we've mentioned his name once in the attacking half so far in this game. So I expect in the second half that we will see some tactical adjustments that will give North Carolina a more offensive approach in how they go about the game.
Miami holding possession 53 to 47%. Shots, though, favoring North Carolina by a slim margin, 3-2. Only thing that matters, though, is the scoreboard, 2-0. Bonfiglio, his third goal of the season, 5th across all competitions. Knutson dials it up for the second time in as many weeks. Played forward. Miami FC looking to seal this thing. A crossing attempt, a little bit too far out in front. Mercado and company in hot pursuit of their third goal of the night.
It's not a bad delivery at all, and some good combination play to find the space out wide. Ball was just probably a little bit too far ahead of Bonfiglio again, who was attacking the box there.
Romero putting a tight quarter with Gavilanes. Gavilanes trying to escape. Team will win a corner kick here.
Yeah, and of course from Miami FC now, you're just slowing things down. Take your 2-goal lead towards half-time. No rush to get this ball back into play.
Gavilanes coming off a 5-goal season last year in his debut with Miami FC. Has yet to score in 4+ matches. To the back post they go. Awfully close to making it 3-0.
Great delivery. All alone there at the back post. Mercado just unable to guide his header on frame. Probably had enough time to actually use his left foot there and volley it. But again, another set-piece situation that turned out to be very dangerous for North Carolina FC. They're going to have to address that half-time, making sure players that runs are either blocked or they're winning those headers and getting first contact on the ball.
Akinyoti with the foul against DaCosta. Gavilanes looking impressive on that delivery. He did pick up his first assist of the year on the goal by Knutson off the set piece. Cervania left in a compromising position. Possession staying with North Carolina. Anderson, it looks to be onside. Bill Hamid, no way! Possession staying here with North Carolina. Conway boots this thing, and as it misses wide of the target. But back to Bill Hamid. He was a monster a week ago at San Antonio. He's picked up where he left off a week ago.
I think it's the quick restart that gets the ball in behind there for North Carolina FC, and Anderson does well. It's the second time he's found himself in behind the Miami FC back line, but just needed to have more composure there. He's hit it at a nice height that Bill Hamid deals with well. If he drills it along the floor or finishes a little bit more composure, I think he gets North Carolina a goal just before half-time, but he smashes it hard as he can. And
corner kick here. Hamid goes out. There was all kinds of congestion in front of him.
Here we see it's just a quick restart. Anderson, quick as he is off. He even has time to settle this down and pick his corner, but he just smashes it straight down the middle at Hamid. It's at a nice height where you expect him. If that's on the floor, I think it's in the back of the net. I don't think he gets down quick enough if it's hit low with that kind of venom. But at that height, I think you're expecting a goalkeeper of Hamid's caliber to pull that save off.
More of a reactionary save for Bill Hamid. That thing had a ton of juice on it. Hamid looks to be okay. We get confirmation here from our fourth official. It's believed to be 3 minutes of stoppage time. It's been an eventful first half of action.
Interesting approach. Just seconds left before half-time, and they still play out short from the back and turn over possession.
Conway on the intercept.
Game management at this phase of the game would just say, hey, get it down, get it high up the field, and get it as far away from our goal as in the last 90 seconds before half-time. But
Akinyoti creeping up. Hamid is there.
And that doesn't mean you're deviating away from your game plan of building out from the back. There's just moments when it makes more sense to be a little bit more direct, and maybe the 60 seconds before half-time when you're leading 2-0 might be that moment.
Feeling the contact, Gavalanis goes down. It hasn't been a flawless first half for Miami. Do you anticipate many changes in the second half for Gaston Madoni?
I think it's positive. I think they've stopped the rot in terms of they've stopped conceding as many goals as they were earlier. They were finding a way to take the lead in games, and we highlight that taking the lead has been important in all the matches that they've been able to get wins. And I think that they're playing well. No, I don't think there's a weakness in the team that they really need to address, apart from the runs in behind from Anderson that we've seen on a couple of occasions on both sides that are proved to be dangerous from direct passes like this, where they have to read the body language, they have to anticipate a little bit quicker, and they have to recover a little bit quicker. I think that's the only area of concern that they really need to focus on coming into the second half.
Anderson and Knutson draped all over each other. Possession's going to stay with North Carolina here. Final stages of this opening half. Anderson, Conway, Sundstrom, all inside the 18, in fact, near the 6.
Mercado clearly possesses a long throw here.
Paco Craig.
Boxed in by Kanode and Akinyoti. Knutson and Akinyoti.
Paco was fantastic in his time at Miami. Now a different stage with North Carolina gets himself on the board. And what do you know? The captain shines bright late in the opening half. North Carolina crawls back within one. It's 2-1 Miami.
It's a great header, but Miami FC will be absolutely kicking themselves that they've conceded a goal just before half-time. You could see Craig was the target. He's managed to find himself some space, and that's a great header. Just redirecting the ball back where it's come from. Hamid has been fantastic, but there's no way he was getting his hands onto this one. Fully outstretched into the side netting. Gives North Carolina FC hope just before half-time.
For Paco Craig, his first goal of the season. And North Carolina not out of the woods yet, but they have a fighting chance.
And now you're looking at how well, or the improvement that we've seen in Miami FC in this first half, and you're looking at the chance that Anderson just missed when he smashes it straight at Hamid. That chance could essentially have things going in half-time at 2-2, which makes the game completely different.
Late goals providing a good sense of confidence. And speaking of confidence, one conceded here. Potentially we'll find out. Blanco, who's down right now. Some pretty decent contact from Tristan Hodge. Hodge is playing on a yellow right now, so he has to be extremely careful with his decisions.
And maybe didn't know it enough, but Mercado's throw-ins, almost like corner kicks from that region. Anything in the attacking third that goes out for a throw-in, you're having to defend as a corner for North Carolina. The great delivery, pinpoint onto the head of Paco Craig from a throw-in. I think the last time we saw somebody that dangerous from throw-ins might have been Rory Delap for Stoke City in the Premier League maybe a decade ago.
Dialing it back. McGuire looking on. Gavilanes.
Dangerous area here.
Let's see who takes this free kick for Miami FC. Looks to be the final sequence of this opening half. It will not be Gavilanes. That shot goes sailing over the cross by Varane. And that will do it for the opening half. Plenty of drama. Some good firepower being displayed by both clubs. Miami jumping on the board in the opening half. Not once, but twice. Bonfilio, his third of the regular season. Knutson, his second. Paco Craig returning fire to make it 2-1 Miami.
It's been a positive first half for Miami FC. Of course, they'll be gutted to have conceded a goal just before halftime, but it's definitely steps forward. It's more steps forward than you would say steps back. For North Carolina FC, yes, they got themselves back in the game just before halftime, but they know they've got to be much better in the second half. It's going to be interesting to see what changes John Bradford makes to get them back into this game.
The Magic City, sparked by Julia Tuttle's vision and Henry Flagler's railroad expansion. What was once swampland, transformed into a booming city. This is 1896.
No one was born a hero. It's an everyday journey. There are no shortcuts, no days off, no perfect scenarios. Things won't always go the way you expect. But overcoming challenges is part of the game too. Your time is now. When passion runs through you, become your own hero.
Back here at half, Macron Halftime Report with Chris Nurse. I'm David Gascon. Miami FC over North Carolina. 2-1 is the tally. Bonfilio, his third of the season. Knutson, his second. Paco Craig on the other end for North Carolina. As we take a look now, USL Team of the Week, week number 6. Also the Goal of the Week, Chris. All kinds of action, USL Championship. Apologize for technical difficulties, but the goal of the week, Chris, I promise it's here.
all worth the wait. When you wait, it's always a little bit more special, and this for sure was a special finish. Bending away from the goalkeeper with dip into the side net with the left foot. Outstretched hand. Let's see the celly. Wait. There it is.
Jesse Daniel, the goal of the week in USL Championship for week number 6. We got some stats, we got some highlights, we got all kinds of things to work out here. So does Miami FC in North Carolina. 45 minutes down and 45 more to come at halftime. So we'll come up on the other side. We also got a take a look around USL Championship because there's plenty of games in action that are going on right now as we speak. Do not go anywhere.
2 nights, get a $50 Best Western gift card.
Whoa, termites can eat a pound of wood a day. Pound of wood a day.
Pound of wood a day. Pound of wood a day.
What's wrong, Daddy? Daddy? You okay?
Keep termites out of your home and your head with our premium guarantee that covers up to $250,000 in new termite damage. Before panic shows up, Terminix it.
Success doesn't come easy. It takes grit, hustle, and relentless effort. Every step forward brings you closer to greatness. This is your moment. Elevate your game. El Jimador Spiked Bebidas.
Second longest tenured coach in the league, Tommy Sohn, is out in Birmingham. Robbie Nielsen, surprisingly, out in Tampa Bay.
Eric Avila named the interim for the Birmingham Legion. Gets a win on the weekend, but what does the identity of this team look like? Tampa Bay Rowdies, simple, results-driven business. 4 wins in their last 20 matches in all competition. And how about some cup sets? Open Club glory awaits.
No one was born a hero. It's an everyday journey. There are no shortcuts, no days off, no perfect scenarios. Things won't always go the way you expect. But overcoming challenges is part of the game too. Your time is now. When passion runs through you, become your own hero.
Macron halftime report with Chris Nurse. I'm David Gascon. Got the youngins on the pitch right now. Miami FC with an advantage. It's narrow. 2-1 is the tally. Now we have a moment in time to take a peek at the news and the notes around USL Championship, because there's a lot of things to discuss, Chris, including the Lamar Hunt US Open Cup.
12 USL Championship clubs advanced US Open Cup round of 32 with 7 to host MLS sides. Something to give the fans to be excited about. What do you think about that?
I love it. I always love the Open Cup because you have the cup sets, you have teams that deserve nothing in terms of getting to that next round, and then all of a sudden they catch fire. Notable figures, you think about Sacramento from a few years ago, New Mexico upset Real Salt Lake last year. Lots of teams in the USL Cup.
And you bring these teams to your home, to bring them to your fans. I think that's one of the most valuable things, is the fans get to see these games live in front of them.
USL Buffalo announced the club's new 7,400 capacity stadium, already receiving 1,000 ticket deposits in the U.S. Jägermeister Cup. First round of the expanded USL Jaeger Cup kicks off next week on ESPN+. That'll include both of these teams here tonight, North Carolina and Miami FC. Take a look at the scores around the league right now, brought to you by Marriott, Miami-Dade. What do we got? We got Sacramento and Phoenix Rising reaching full time. 2-2 is the final tally there, and everything else coming to a conclusion. Any shockers?
Oakland Roots picking up their win against Orange County. Oakland Roots, obviously, shocking start to the season, but they managed to pick up 3 points tonight. Again, it's going to be, and Hartford also, 2 teams that were lingering at the bottom of the table. Going to see if they can pull some consistency on those results. Rhode Island struggling a little bit right now.
Yeah, Lexington and Monterey Bay are at the half right now. Charleston is 2-0 over Indy 11, and Tampa Bay and Lou City are open in the first half. No score just yet. So
Loudon off to a strong start.
Shocking?
No, Loudon off to a strong start, 2-1.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Bob Lilly's Pittsburgh losing back-to-back games. Oof. You don't want to be in that locker room.
Miami trying to get themselves back on the board, or at least get their second victory this season as many games. Get you some highlights and stats right around the corner.
The Magic City, sparked by Julia Tuttle's vision and Henry Flagler's railroad expansion. What was once swampland, transformed into a booming city. This is 1896.
Doral Kia is loaded with over 500 new Kia models in stock now. Test drive a new 25 Kia Sportage today. Doral Kia. Drive for less. Drive.
Gas is brought to you by Doral Kia. Drive for less. Drive Doral. Bon Bon Boom. Suck at something. Macron. Become your own hero. And Baptist Health. We're back here at South Dade Kia Field at Pitbull Stadium. Chris Nurse and David Gascon. Chris, it was an impressive start for Miami FC. How do they duplicate the performance, though?
I think they performed well. I think they'll be disappointed that they gave away the clean sheet before halftime. But as I said, expecting a big response from North Carolina FC in the second half. Right now, Miami FC, for good reason, have been lingering around the bottom of the table. If North Carolina FC want to be one of the teams competing for #1 spot or for the championship, they've got to put teams like this to bed early and instate their dominance on the game and convert their chances, which they haven't done a great job of creating today.
Alex Anderson has not scored a goal so far this season, but he has had some dangerous moments for North Carolina. In 4 matches so far, has yet to register a point. Evan Conway has been held off the scoreboard so far. But the opening half, we give way to the breakdowns of North Carolina.
Yeah, and it's actually Paco Craig who redeems himself, because this back pass that he gives to Maguire is a little bit short, and Bonfiglio just pressures, ends up being a big mistake. Gets Miami FC the go-ahead goal.
Bonfiglio, his 3rd goal this season in the 18th minute. A mistake was cashed in, and then a harsh foul here. Knutson puts one home.
Great delivery here from Gavilanes. All the pace is on the delivery of the ball. Knutson just needs to get something on it, guides on it, glances it into the side netting. 2-0 for Miami FC. Knutson's 2nd goal in 2 games.
North Carolina thought they were to get one back here. The infraction occurred. Or the official said it happened outside the 18.
Yeah, that was definitely a penalty for me. Not far away at all, but that was actually a good chance. North Carolina should have got themselves back into the game from the penalty spot. But Paco Craig made amends for the earlier back pass by getting them a goal just before halftime.
He does so, his 1st goal of the season for North Carolina. So they get back within 1. 2-1 is a score. For North Carolina, what kind of changes would you make if you're John Bradford?
They've just got to become more offensive. So far, they've been a little bit passive. They've got to be more aggressive, go and press higher up the field, get Sedania the ball higher up the field in areas where he can create or get shots and targets for himself. I just think they need to be a little bit more aggressive in their approach to attacking.
For Miami FC, they could not escape the opening half without conceding a goal. If you are Gaston Madoni, what do you tell your troops to come out and start the second half?
I think they know they're going to be under pressure from North Carolina FC. There's no way North Carolina FC are going to sit back now. They're going to come guns blazing to go and get the equalising goal. So for Miami FC, they've got to be able to weather the storm. They've got to be able to manage the tempo of play. They've got to be able to defend extremely well as a collective group. And that's the only way they walk out tonight with 3 points.
Second half begins with North Carolina in possession, moving from left to right on the attack in the red kits. Miami FC in the light kits, moving from right to left on the counter. Miami FC trying to win back-to-back games for the first time since 2023. From September the 20th to October the 7th of 2023, they won 4 straight to get them into a playoff spot. Lost the final game of the regular season at Sacramento. They fell a point short to Detroit, who captured the ace spot in the Eastern Conference and then eventually upset Pittsburgh in the opening round. 2-1, then trying to make it 3-1. A bad pass here from Gavilanes. No real idea of where he was going with that ball. North Carolina in the first half had 6 shots. Miami had 5 shots on target. Each club had 2 apiece. Anderson is asking for it. So is Conway, but Bill Hamid snatches it just in the nick of time.
Hamid makes it look easy because he anticipates the delivery, anticipates where he's coming in, his positioning as well. He's on the front foot. And some keepers come out in those situations and punch the ball. Hamid on this occasion does very well to hold on to it and keep his team in possession.
Mitzkin, who was screaming down the right-hand side. First dangerous moment of the second half going to North Carolina. No substitutions from either side. John Bradford and Gaston Modoni rolling with what they brought here to open up this contest.
It's interesting for North Carolina because if they press Miami FC too high, they eliminate that space behind where Anderson's had a lot of success making those runs in behind. So they want to allow Miami FC to maybe have the ball a little bit higher near the top of the D in the halfway line so that space is behind for Anderson to exploit.
DaCosta gave it up. Conway with a interesting volley trying to give it over on the right-hand side to Anderson, but that ball is anticipated by Akinyoti. Bonfilio grabbing the back end of his right leg, looks like the calf.
And they have that. North Carolina have had success when they played the ball over the top of Miami FC's backline and Anderson's made runs in behind. They've just been lacking quality in the finishing department. There's been two good chances that they could have had that could have got themselves on the score sheet. So I think in terms of changing things, maybe they need to stick to that approach and just require a little bit more composure when it comes to the finishing department.
Each of these teams will be in action next week with the Jaeger Cup. North Carolina has a date with Charlotte Independence, and Miami FC will be up north a little bit. They'll be traveling to Tampa. Loudoun United, as you mentioned, Chris, the leader of the pack in the Eastern Conference. 18 points so far. Detroit with 14, followed by Lou City and Charleston. The Meade all the way out. That is a vulnerable spot that he's in. Western Conference, Monterey Bay, followed by San Antonio and New Mexico. Anyone jumped out to you so far from either side of the conference?
I think Rhode Island having a fairly slow start, given how they finished off last season.
On the run, DaCosta! Bill Hamid was out there to challenge.
And we spoke about Sylvania being higher up the field and getting more involved in the attack, and there we have it in the first 5 minutes of the second half. He's in the attacking third, delivering a great ball into the box. DaCosta, if he didn't cut his toenails yesterday, that's probably in the back of the net. Inches away. Any connection with this gives Hamid no chance. He knows that was a close opportunity.
Couple of crosses for North Carolina, inches away from finding the mark. Maldonado here. Bonfilio and company trying to forge forward. Decent contact, but nothing being called. Gavilanes. This portion of the broadcast brought to you by Doral Kia. Drive for less, drive Doral.
Dangerous scoreline because, as you just saw, 2-1 maybe it's not a scoreline where Miami FC can afford to feel very comfortable. We already see a flash and opportunity there for North Carolina FC to get the equalizing goal. So it's not a situation right now where Miami FC can just afford to sit back. They probably still got to go for another goal, in all honesty.
Well, quick touch passing. Conway on the tap. He hits the deck. Challenged immediately by Miami FC.
And we've probably seen a little bit more purpose in North Carolina's play in the second half than we saw in the first half. More intent to go forward, more combination play, more players making runs forward. And that was the response that we expected to see.
Replay here, delivered by Bon Bon Boom. Somersault. Mitzkin gave it up. Anderson, as aggressive as any player was for North Carolina in the opening half. Cervania wanted to take that ball with him. While Anderson was busy trying to attack for North Carolina, who stood out to you in the opening half for Miami?
I think for Miami it was a very good collective performance. I think they each did their jobs well. Defensively, they were good. Bill Hamid was good. Spoke about Bonfiglio in the attack. I think it's been a very good team performance. I don't think it's been a byproduct of any one individual being spectacular so far for Miami FC in the first half.
Miami's team, for all the changes they have made, can't afford to just rely on one player. The offseason acquisitions of Jonathan Ricketts and Bill Hamid and Francisco Bonfiglio have been providing some early dividends. Somersault did a fine job of maintaining possession, but it was given right back. Bent had it for a moment, nearly had his pocket picked. Quality pressure by North Carolina here. North Carolina didn't lose much from a season ago. Lamar Batista, Shap Brewer, Ja'Cory Hayes, Daniel Navarro. Now their contracts expired, did not return. '54th minute. Miami hasn't had anything towards target here, and Jake McGuire to start the second half.
Yeah, you can definitely feel a little bit of a momentum shift in favor of North Carolina, and it was needed because in the first half maybe they weren't at the races as much as they needed to be in there. They've responded well since they've come out in the second half, which is dangerous because even in the first half they did have a number of good opportunities.
Miami not playing with as much aggression as they did in the opening half. And now the question is, will that come back to bite them? Knudsen, some pretty decent contact there, giving chase. Miami searching for their third victory all time against North Carolina in 11 matches. Gaston Madoni, first year as the head coach for Miami SC, replacing Antonio Nocerino, who went to Las Vegas. Playing musical chairs around USL Championship. Dennis Sanchez going from Vegas to New Mexico.
Trying to find the formula for success that they had in their early existence.
Eastern Conference having right now 5 teams with just a single victory. One of them a notable figure in Tampa Bay. They have been poor to open up 2025.
Yeah, they've had a very slow start. And as we just mentioned, Bob Liddy's Pittsburgh back-to-back losses. Missing the likes of Canado Forbes, who was such an important player over the years for Bob Liddy at Rochester and also at Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, an interesting team the last couple seasons. Lead pass here, Bonfiglio on the dead run. 1-on-2 trying to beat the attack. He could not do so. Fine job defending and backtracking by North Carolina.
Strong tackle there from Menzingen, I think, who made the slide tackle in the end. It's always going to be controversial when you go to ground, but he timed it to perfection. I was intrigued to see if Bonfiglio had the pace to beat both of those defenders. I think it was Craig and Menzingan tracking back.
Blanco needs to be careful here. He's in danger of picking up a yellow card. Verbal abuse to an official is something that is more heavily weighed now than it has been in years past.
Interesting. Blanco had on the armband, takes it off, gives it to Akinyodi, and then after he cools down a little bit, takes it back from Akinyodi and puts it back on.
Now, would that work here in the broadcast booth? Can I give you my headphones to take over the play-by-play role, and I do analyst? Would you be okay with that?
I'm not sure what just happened there. Akinyodi needed the armband to talk to the referee. So
drive-on goal from Gavilanes, handled by Maguire.
He gives him the armband so Akinyodi could talk to the referee, and then takes it back.
Have you ever seen that before?
I don't know. I think you have a little bit more pride about wearing the armband than in that aspect of things.
Conway. Good pursuit towards Anderson. Anderson with an angle going on goal. Hamid makes the first stop. Knutson cleans things up.
Had to see the replay, but I think this could have been a penalty also on Anderson. He could have taken the shot earlier. He takes the extra touch, and there is definitely contact here. I think that's the second penalty that North Carolina could count themselves hard done by here. He stabs. There's no connection with the ball. Definitely there's man.
Oh, my goodness. A golden opportunity here for North Carolina. And they could not convert for the second time in Tristan Hodge. You can hear him scream all the way up into the press box.
Yeah, I think there's a couple chances that they could throw back on the referee, but I think there's a couple chances that they needed to take for themselves to take matters into their own hands, and they've just not been clinical enough in front of goal tonight, North Carolina. That was a fantastic opportunity there from Hodge. I think it was maybe harder to miss than to score.
North Carolina might be feeling a little snake bit. They have deserved more than the one goal they've scored so far. And Miami has capitalized on a couple of opportunities.
Yeah, and I think that's the catch-22 for us. The improvement that we've seen in Miami FC, they've given away some pretty good chances to North Carolina tonight.
Two-thirds of the way through. DaCosta and company trying to find the equalizer. Top of the box, Maldonado. Quick pivot, gave it up. DaCosta, one inserted but rejected right away. Nice job again from DaCosta managing. Tries to slide this away to the right-hand side, but it's going to go right back to Miami. And now we have a couple of changes.
Whatever John Bradford said at halftime to North Carolina FC is definitely worked. They're playing with a lot more purpose, a lot more energy, a lot more intent. This is the performance that we were maybe looking for from the get-go, but it took us to the second half to get it. But North Carolina now playing with it a lot better than they did in the first half.
Delicate pass by Gavilanes, and I'm doing a good job of holding possession. Shots right now 8-7 in favor of North Carolina. Each team with 3 shots on goal. Possession favoring Miami, but slightly. 52% to 48. Bonfiglio with a quick step on Paco Craig. Bonfiglio well outside. That one almost snuck by Jake Maguire.
Good play there from Bonfiglio to find the space to drive him behind. But it would have really taken something spectacular to beat Maguire from that distance. He has the beating of Craig here for speed. Probably a good 5 yards Craig had as a head start.
Alejandro Matrano in for Miami FC. He replaces Brandon Bent. Didn't hear a whole lot from Bent tonight. Miami making those changes here in the 62nd minute. Quick move to the outside. That's again grabbing the corner, the crossing attempt. That one's nullified at the last minute.
Great work here on the right-hand side. Wins his 1v1 battle here. Menzingen drills the ball across the box, and I think it's Anderson. It's a little bit too early with his run, ends up being the one to clear it out of play for a goal kick.
63rd minute. North Carolina, the better team here in the second half. Still down a goal. Managed for a moment, Bent stays on it. Miami can win tonight. It'll be their first home victory of the season. Last time they did that was back in August the 31st of 2024.
They're absorbing a lot of pressure from North Carolina FC right now. They've got to find a way to get hold of the ball and start to create their own goal scoring opportunities, because right now it's only a matter of time before North Carolina get the equalizing goal with the chances that they're creating.
Blanco, who was asking for it a moment ago, has peeled back. Gavilanes and company.
Miami FC just need one more goal to take the pressure off a little bit.
Which makes that goal by Paco Craig at the end of the opening half that much more threatening. Nicholas Cardona coming into the contest. Cardona made his season debut a week ago against San Antonio. He'll replace Mercado. Cardona was the guy that was a regular for Miami FC last year, week in and week out.
Your attention, please. A substitution for your Miami
was amongst the regular starters. This year, not so much. Second appearance of the year, now in 2 matches.
At number 10, Sebastian Blanco. In number 26, Lucas Milano.
Lucas Milano coming in. Sebastian Blanco
In number 3,
is now removed.
In the 65th minute.
Some whole player substitutions for Miami. Fresh bodies in, and Chris, do you think this has as much to do with the fact that he played midweek against Indy 11 and US Open Cup?
Nah, I think most of these players are young enough where midweek shouldn't impact that much. I think if you look up the road, you've got some old guys who are playing midweek, weekend, and handle it just fine. So I don't think it's a case yet this early in the season of a cumulative load having an impact on the roster selection. I think just looking to freshen things up and bring on some fresh legs, seeing the amount of energy that North Carolina bring in it in the start to the second half.
On the dead run, Matrano is going to be called for a touch foul here. Shots not favoring either side. It's been close to 50-50 at the conclusion of this contest. Chris and I will have the Cricket Wireless Man of the Match, voted on by Chris and Chris only.
Still a lot of time left.
I feel compelled to give you like a big envelope, like the Oscars or something. Need a drum roll from our executive producer, Bruno Santos. Drum roll, please. Next stoppage, North Carolina will bring in their own reinforcements. Looks like a couple of changes for them. Before all of that, they're trying to capitalize here. A shot at goal. Bill hit me with the right paw. the clear-cut leader of this team, Bill Hamid, with another big stop in the 67th minute. Pedro Dolabella coming into the affair for Summersall.
Out number 44, Raheem Summersall. In number 8, Pedro Dolabella. Now number 10.
So Raheem Summersall's night's over with.
In number 11, Patrick Burner.
Patrick Burner also coming into the affair. Cervania's night is over with.
Interesting timing at Miami City. 3 or 4 changes at a point in the game where they needed to become a little bit more defensively compact and solid and tight. Normally these changes destabilize you for a little bit of time as players catch up to the speed of the game and get comfortable with things. And it's going to be interesting to see how those 4 changes that they've just made impact their defending.
Corner here in the 68th minute. Something that Miami knows an awful lot about from their midweek loss to Indy 11, where they conceded a corner kick goal just seconds away from going to penalties.
Your attention, please.
See the communication is to Costa, who let it rip.
Out number 11.
I mean, you could see his reaction. They're frustrated. So his teammates defending, unable to read the bounce of the ball, then turning their back on the ball. Da Costa gets the strike over his left foot, but Hamid equal to it. Keeps Miami FC in the lead right now.
Diaz will come in for Varane. Miami FC with 4 changes in the second half. Not quite like they're playing to hold on, but it's close.
Yeah, North Carolina doing a good job of keeping the pressure on in the attacking half and pinning Miami FC back defensively. They're struggling really to get out of the half in the second half.
Out-of-town scoreboard, Charleston has opened up a can on Indy 11. 3-0 is the score. El Paso and Colorado Springs level at 1. Lexington and Monterey Bay scoreless. And Tampa Bay and New City are at the break. 45 minutes left to work, and that match is also scoreless. Here tonight, Bonfield in the 18th minute, Knutson in the 26th, Paco Craig in stoppage time. All the goals in the opening half, and 2-1 is the tally.
I know it's coming, and I for one can't wait till it comes, but some of these teams that like to linger at the lower end of the table and maybe make a late push for the last player position or not, soon are going to be under the umbrella of relegation. It puts a whole different level of intensity when you're lingering in those positions in the table.
Desperate measures for clubs that are not familiar with that in USL Championship.
Well, you either have to invest in stronger rosters, you're going to have to make bigger signings at later points in the season, because if you're in the relegation battles and you realize, okay, our struggle is scoring goals, you're going to have to go and find a goal scorer, and you're going to have to spend money on it. So there's going to be an increase in investment in the game. There's many aspects that I think from a spectator standpoint, from a quality standpoint, from a intensity standpoint, they're going to elevate the game.
Well, sports has a short window. It's all about wins and losses. Set piece here for North Carolina. Long ball for Hamid to snatch. He wants to jumpstart the counterattack, but
just not enough bodies forward. The intent was right. He wanted to get the counterattack started quickly, but there was just no bodies forward once that first pass was made. Probably, hindsight, hold on to a bit longer, allow his team to get higher up the field. But again, the 1-goal margin they have probably isn't enough, and they need to use those moments when North Carolina have thrown bodies forward to counter-attack and try to create another opportunity to get themselves a little bit of breathing space.
This match has had good pace to it. DaCosta. Not a threatening cross. Just trying to find a seam. Fancy on that feed, but gave it away. '73rd minute.
Mercado coming up with the slingshot throw-in. We saw what he's capable of with his throwing. This is how Paco Craig got themselves a goal just before half-time.
Luis Perez coming in for Rodrigo DaCosta.
Out number 16, Rodrigo da Costa.
Perez, who's yet to score a goal so far this year in 6 matches.
In the 73rd minute.
His goal-scoring prowess dropped off for Perez. Last year, he scored a couple of goals. The year prior to that, he had scored 7 times.
Incoming slingshot. Second ball becomes so important here.
Carry him to round. Oh, that ball hit a body in front, and Bill Hamid was able to pounce on it.
Sometimes it's the first connection that you have to be aware of, just like Paco Craig's finishing the first up, but sometimes it's the ball that bobbles out or deflects off somebody. It's the first one to react that's able to either clear it away from danger or bury it into the back of the net.
At the conclusion of this match, I'll be curious to know what John Bradford thinks about his team's performance.
I think it would be, well, the game's still a lot of time left, but I think he'd be happy with the response that they gave in the second half, but they can't start games the way they started the game. 2-0 down, you lost the game in the first half. Second half, they've done well so far in the time that's gone, but they made it extremely difficult for themselves in the way that they started the first half. Cliche. Coaches sometimes say to you the game was lost in the first half. That may not be the case, or that may be the case.
Still plenty of time left, 75th minute. Grab this one.
Commanding presence.
But all those changes now for North Carolina. Dolabella in, Perez in as well. DaCosta removed. And then Conaway, we have not called his number a whole lot in this affair. It looks Anderson's night is over with. Anderson had a lot of jump in his step tonight.
Yeah, he had some chances, just needs to be a little bit more clinical and composed, but he was always a threat going forward for North Carolina in the first half and at moments in the second half also.
Miami's made 4 changes, North Carolina with 3. Shots favoring North Carolina by 1. But the score is favoring the home team. Miami with the 2 goals in the opening half, 18th minute and the 26th. Bonfilio has now scored 5 goals across all competitions, with 3 in USL Championship. Perez, who gave it up, wanted to get it back. Played into the box near the 6. That's again, that ball lofted around. Knutson on a one-hopper. Nitzkin pushed it over to Maldonado. Well out wide with a nice move around Matrano. Crossing attempt, no. Matrano.
I think there may have been a little shout there for handball in the box from North Carolina. See, would have been the Third time they've been denied a penalty so far in this game. But they're definitely turning up the heat on Miami FC right now. Sustained possession.
No real separation at all for Miami. Feels like every time they're on it, there's someone in red around them.
They're just staying back in their formation right now, Miami FC. Not really applying too much pressure on the ball or leaving their shape. It was his arm, but it's tied to his body. It wasn't away from him.
Diaz did a good job of getting the hands away from that ball. Jake McGuire been touched up twice in the opening half. Hasn't seen any kind of activity in the second half. Now all he can hope for is some offensive support. Perez here. Inskin. Toronto awfully fortunate not to be shown yellow in that situation, but this sets up a nice free kick for North Carolina. Gaston Modoni asking for an explanation as he walks down the sideline.
Your attention, please. Substitution.
Tobias Zarate will come into the affair for Alan Gavilanes. His night's over with.
Alan Gavilanes. In number 18, Tobias
5 subs for Miami FC.
In the 79th minute.
Maldonado in the 80th minute. We'll see how he serves this up. 6 inside the 18 for North Carolina. Maldonado working short. That's not his best performance. Man from San Antonio, Texas, unable to deliver something big for his team.
North Carolina just keeping the pressure on. Probably a little more than 10 minutes remaining. Of course, 5 subs for Miami FC means that they do have some fresh legs, but here comes the human slingshot again. Mercado with his rocket launches into the box. Maldonado.
Not a big guy at 5'9", but he can definitely give it a heave. Maldonado taps it back that way.
And Bill Hamid, of course, quickly off his line.
34-year-old not going to be cheated on that occasion. Nice play through. Miami FC looking for any kind of separation. Play at the top, and Milano, who just came in, trying to make an instant impact. Ball's to the top of the box, and it goes dribbling in to McGuire.
It was another uncertain clearance there from Craig. The ball just holds up a little bit on this turf, more so than on other surfaces. You really have to be secure and assertive with that pass in and around the 18-yard box.
Would have been a heartbreaking night for North Carolina to concede a foul here. Milano not happy with the call and the ruling. North Carolina doesn't want to talk, they want to move.
Seconds ticking away, and Miami FC have all 11 players back behind the ball in a deep block. Here comes that dangerous throwing again.
Got a yellow card here. A bit of a surprise. Second yellow card issued on the night. Zarate the guilty party in the 82nd minute.
A yellow card has been issued to number 18 from Miami FC.
Knutson heads this away.
In the 83rd minute.
Ball played into a vulnerable spot again for North Carolina, trying to inflict some damage on Miami's defense that's been bending a whole lot in half number 2, and a collision near the 6. Balu Akinyoti is down for Miami FC. I don't know if we have a number for North Carolina.
Interesting to see this clash of heads here. Oh, that was the clearance that almost ended up being an assist. Paco Craig here deflects off the attacker, and just the backspin on the ball. He knows that was a good opportunity there.
Zarate missed that and then picked up yellow seconds after. Well, it's Paco Craig on the ground.
It's the two respective captains for their teams. Of course, this will lead to some additional time, which will fall into the favor of North Carolina.
Conclusion of this contest, our Cricket Wireless man of the match in this Bon Bon Boom replay. Just the whiplash from Paco going down like that was harsh.
Yeah, the way he landed.
We have a brief moment. We could take a look at all the action which was in the opening half. Goals, goals, and goals.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of a lackluster pass from Paco Craig there, but Figlio does well just to put the pressure on Maguire. Creates his own luck here by chasing it down. Gave Miami the go-ahead goal.
It's the first goal in the night in the 18th minute. Miami was not done delivering, though.
Beautiful delivery from here from Gavilanes, and Knutson just glances it into the side net, giving Maguire no chance on this one.
That goal is in the 26th minute. And then back comes Paco Craig and company. And that header in stoppage time, putting the game at 2-1 and now in doubt.
Paco Craig having to leave the game for the head injury. Akinyoti returns, but of course, if he couldn't have returned, I believe you are allowed an extra substitution due to a head injury. So seems to have badged himself up.
Concussion protocol sub, so Aman Alcock comes into the contest for Paco Craig. Akinyoti now coming back off the sideline, or off the pitch onto the sideline, I beg your pardon. 87th minute. That was at least 3 minutes of injury here. Ball headed straight down to the deck. Cricket Wireless man of the match at the conclusion of this thing.
I don't know, but I still feel like there's one goal left in this game from somewhere. Whether it's Miami FC sealing it by getting one more, or
off-angle attempt, and Anderson was looking on from Burner.
And it's been a number of those type of chances that North Carolina have traded. Balls over the top, and they've done well to get it, but it's just the composure, the final shot, or the final cross into the box, lacking the quality to convert.
Miami FC's next contest, regular season action, that is, May the 4th, which is a Sunday. They'll be on the West Coast in Seaside, California against Monterey Bay FC before they return back home against Loudoun United. Ooh, this is some interesting contact, and Bonfilio down looking around, asking for a call to be made. No such luck.
Maldonado just needs to adjust these a little bit. Hamid has been pretty proactive in coming off his line and claiming them, so he needs to direct you into an area where he knows Hamid is not going to be wanting to leave.
More aggression. Maldonado again, a non-throw in again. That ball goes right back to nearly where it came. Now we'll have a corner kick, though, for North Carolina.
It could be a corner kick or a throw with Maldonado. They're both are almost the same.
Yeah.
You might say the throw-in is more accurate.
Lloyd Perez will take it. No Paco Craig, though. Hamid comes all the way out, volleys it for a moment. It's loose. Held on by North Carolina. Hamid again staging claim to it. Plenty of contact inside the 18. North Carolina asking for yet another penalty.
Hamid not shy coming off his line at all here.
Everyone getting involved in the action for North Carolina. Desperate for 3 points, but at this junction they want at least one. Looking for an equalizer. Akinyoti rejects it.
Yeah, this phase of the game, North Carolina will be happy to get the equalizer. As you said, I'm sure John Breford was not happy with their approach to the first half, but he would be happy with the response to the second half. But they know they can't afford to start games like they did tonight.
Perez with a bad pass. 90th minute. Time is a wasting for the road team. Keep an eye on the fourth official to confirm how much time we will be afforded for stoppage.
And the numbers there just confirming North Carolina's uptick in this second half. They were the team without possession in the first half, and they've managed to turn it around in the second half where they've been a little bit more dominant. As you can see, they've had more shots on target, more expected goals. But similar to last week, right now Miami FC are doing everything necessary to hold on and see this game away with 3 points. 7 minutes of additional time to hold on.
7 up from our fourth official. Can Miami hold on? And can North Carolina rescue themselves? North Carolina open up the season winless in their first 2 endeavors. Playing to a scoreless, there's going to be a 1-1 draw at Pittsburgh, and then falling to Loudoun United. A lot of good things for them occurred in week number 3. Beat FC Tulsa, and then it went right back to work against Charleston, dropping them 2-1.
If the scores stay as they are, Miami FC will have back-to-back wins, picking up 6 points. On the other hand, North Carolina would have back-to-back losses, picking up 0 points in their last 2 games.
And North Carolina was a decent-sized favorite coming into this contest. Maldonado Long throw with some English to it. Minskin has it. Maldonado gave it right back. Minskin lays it up. Carried around. Anderson serves it up with the right foot, but nobody around for North Carolina.
If score stays as is, Miami FC will continue their strong trend of winning games when they score the first goal. 4 out of the 5 games that they won, including regular season and Open Cup, would have come when they've scored the first goal in games.
Different kind of animal is Miami this year, but they have to continue to grow and learn how to close out matches.
And they've been under pressure a lot in the second half, and they've defended well. There's been moments when they've defended well. Of course, there's been opportunities. North Carolina have had their chances, but the attitude and commitment of the team collectively to defending has been good. They've been difficult for North Carolina to break down.
North Carolina has outshot Miami in the second half, 7-3. About a mile offside. Minsky. Possession in the second half, 61% to 39 in favor of North Carolina.
You do feel like Bonfiglio needs some support in the attack from Miami FC. He's been the offensive output, but you feel like he needs some more players around him who can either assist him, provide him with service, or take some of that goal scoring responsibility off his shoulders. We mentioned Knutson, but of course Knutson's not a natural goal scorer. He's not going to, well, maybe he does, but we don't anticipate he's going to keep up that offensive output over the duration of the season.
Stranger things have happened.
With the improvements defensively for Miami FC, if they can get a little bit more firepower going forward to assist Bonfiglio, I think they could have a respectable season this year. And that's changed quickly because from the beginning it was not looking good. But they managed to start turning the wheel and putting things together slowly.
Miami's leading scorer last year was Frankie Lopez. He had 6 goals to lead the club. Gavilanes had 5.
No, we drew a line on that. When you said the minus 64 stat goal differential, we just put an X through that season.
Yeah, it's turn the page, as they'd say. Never to be spoken of again.
Actually, I saw a video of their new sponsor, Bon Bon Bum. That exact sponsor of talking about their season last season. Did you see it?
I did see it, yes, I did.
I found it interesting.
North Carolina trying to pick up the pace. Minskin here. Quick maneuver on Matrano, but to no avail. Maldonado settling it. Created as much as he'd like to tonight. Hamid alert. Good play. Dolabella with plenty of bend on that ball, but Anderson, who was racing in, just a little bit too late. Once we've reached full time, we'll have our Cricket Wireless man of the match. We'll also have our full-time highlights and stats post-game show. And then we'll say goodbye.
Enough time for North Carolina to mount one more opportunity. 60 seconds left on the clock.
Neither team has played a full 90. There have been big spurts by North Carolina, specifically here in the second half, and quality moments for Miami in the opening half, which have allowed them to score not 1 but 2 goals.
Yeah, you could literally say it was a game of 2 halves. We saw 2 different North Carolinas, and you could even say maybe we saw 2 different Miami FCs.
Off the turnover, Perez with the insert, played away.
Referee wasn't buying it.
More contact, and
see, that's what happened because he tried to sell the first one. Maybe the second one is a foul, but because he tried to sell the first one, the referee doesn't really feel enthused to give the second one. That's how it goes sometimes. Maybe if he'd have been a little bit more honest on the first one, the referee may have given the second one, but...
More bleeding of the clock, and Anderson trying to pick up the pace for Bill Hamid.
Who may be in the running again this week for the number of saves he's had to make tonight. Maybe in the running for Team of the Week again.
Bill's still grimacing a little bit, and he's been limping around. Take a look at him. It looks like he's almost nursing his right leg or the groin. He hasn't looked comfortable for the past 15 minutes.
I know what you did there with the nursing. I know. I know.
Things we do here, Chris.
You're gaslighting me.
Final stages of this contest. Miami trying to make it 2 for their last 2. Last push forward. This ball go out of bounds, and we have reached full time in Miami. And for the second time in 2 games, Miami SC has walked away with 3 points. A good first half performance. Bonfilio and Knutson get the goals, and it holds up. Paco Craig got one back, but at the end of the day, Miami SC was the better team of the night. 2-1 the final score in full time.
And I think that's the most important thing, is that Miami FC found a way to get the 3 points at the end of the game. Back-to-back wins, 6 points from 2 games. Things are starting to look forward, starting to look positive, starting to uptick for Miami FC, positive. For North Carolina, as we spoke about, they've got to find a way to stop conceding so many goals. They're now -2 in a -1 in goal differential, and that's where the problems are for them right now. They've got to find a way to find consistency, and it starts with the defense.
Bill Hamid still not looking good as he limps around. But we take a look at our Cricket Wireless man of the match tonight. Miami improving the record to 2-4 on the season, and good for 6 points. North Carolina falls to 2-3-2. And while we have a moment, our Cricket Wireless man of the match, Chris, who did you vote for?
Knutson. There were back-to-back goals, getting himself on the score sheet, and the amount of defending that Miami FC had to do in the second half. He was everywhere, blocking shots, putting his body on things, winning individual battles. Look, it's a real strong performance tonight from Knutson. So he gets our Cricket Wireless man of the match.
Well, good for Miami FC, improving the record to 2-4 in the season, but for 6 points, they're now 7th in the Eastern Conference. And for North Carolina, they fall in this one, and their record falls to 2-3-2 in the year, and they are still stuck on 8 points. Look at the post-game show coming up next. Miami FC wins it. Consecutive victories for them. 2-1 the final tally.
Kia is loaded with over 500 new Kia models in stock now. Test drive a new 25 Kia Sportage today. Doral Kia. Drive for less. Drive
victorious for the second time this season. 2-1 is the final score. Francisco Bonfilio, Don Knutson with the game-winning goal. Chris, got moment in time now to look at the full-time highlights in this thing. It was good for Miami to start.
Yeah, we saw this. Back pass from Craig, just a little bit slow. Bonfiglio does what all good strikers do. Instincts, puts pressure on Maguire, creates his own luck. It's in the back of the net. Gave Miami FC the go-ahead goal.
Yeah, good start for Miami FC, capitalizing on a mistake from Paco Craig. Bonfilio's 3rd goal in regular season activity, 5 now across all competitions. But Miami FC wasn't done.
Whipped in ball here from Gavilanes, and Knutson just glances into the far corner, and again giving Maguire no chance. But everything is about this delivery is perfect.
Yeah, it proved to be the game-winning goal. Gavilanes was pretty special on the night with set pieces. That was his first assist of the year. A long throw-in from Mikey Maldonado. Paco Craig got himself on the board.
Redeeming himself here, Paco Craig, for his back pass earlier in the game. But the Maldonado's throw-in, what a delivery into the box. And Craig directs it back where it came from. Bill Hamid wasn't getting close to that one.
Yeah, and that was it, though, for the scoring. All of it done in the opening half. And unfortunate for North Carolina, but Miami FC capitalizes on what was given to them, and they prevailed. 2-1 is the final score. Well, for North Carolina, the record falls to 2-3-2 in the season. Next contest is against Pittsburgh on May the 3rd, USL competition. And for Miami FC, they'll be back on the road. You got the Jaeger Cup coming up next week, April the 26th. And that will be in Tampa as well. For my broadcast partner, Chris Nurse, I'm David Gascon. So long from South Day Kia Field at Pitbull Stadium. Francisco Bonfilio, Dalton Knutson, the heroes in this one. Miami FC improves the record to 2-4 on the year, good for 6 points, and they win this one by a final score of 2-1. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone, and also a happy Easter. Good night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.